Dave, first of all, congratulations on the new role. Knowing you, this must be an unbelievably proud moment for you on both a personal and a professional level.
Yeah, absolutely. It's not something I think I ever envisaged happening. You know, as a wee boy supporting Livingston, the dream would have always been to play. Sadly, it was never ever a realistic dream. But being involved with the club in a working capacity for the last 3.5 years has been brilliant enough. You know, getting to build up relationships with the players who, just a few years ago, I was still cheering on for the stands, and now coming on board and being part of the club and already growing those relationships was brilliant. But to now be given that opportunity to head the club up at a director level or a board level, has been, I say a dream come true, but generally is, to be involved at the top end and try and help continue my own journey and getting the club to a successful place, keep growing it on and off the park, and really have a real say in the day-to-day running the football club.
You've touched upon it then, but you've had such a storied connection with the club, right from being a fan at such an early age through to, as you touched upon there, your kind of recent roles as head of commercial media operations. How do you feel that experience has kind of set you up for this role that you're stepping into?
I think a lot. It's given me a lot of learning time over the last, say, 3.5 years. I've been a full-time employee of the football club. My own relationship with the club started on day one, back in '95 with that first game. Came along with my dad, and been home and away ever since. Through all the leagues, through all the highs of the CIS Cup and European football, to all the lows of administration and being demoted down the divisions. So I've certainly experienced that full roller coaster, if you like, of being involved at the club. But being involved from a working capacity in the last 3.5 years has been great. It's allowed me to see a totally different aspect of a football club. You probably lose a little bit of the fan aspect, if you like, because there's now a lot more riding on what happens on a Saturday and just even the day-to-day decisions of what we're all doing as a collective. I think taking this position the last 3.5 years allowed me to build those relationships with the staff, which I think is crucial. They all know me, I all know them. Know a lot about their families, their kids, their partners, from the players to the off-field staff. It's a really tight-knit staff on both the off-field and on-field, and we've all got each other's back. We all muck in, everybody's covering each other when needs be, and I think that's probably pivotal in us sustaining this place in the Premiership. I think if we treated it like you come in and you only do your role, we probably don't have, or we probably aren't where we are just now, because it's very much a case of people mucking in, helping each other. I could name a whole host of people at the football club, but even starting at the first team manager, Davies, during pre-season, knocking down walls. He's got his tool belt on, he's building things, and he built the gym at the football club. He's currently looking at the hospitality area, trying to improve that. Cheb, the kit man, he takes gym sessions, he goes to the swimming pool with the injured boys to the rehab. You've got even Michael, the club photographer, who also does the programme. You've got Karen, our office manager, who also head the ticketing. So it's very much that everybody at the football club has a varied number of roles that they carry out, not just the job title that they may have. And I think for me, knowing what everybody does and knowing those skill sets and be able to kind of now tap into that a bit more and let these people continue to grow in their own journey at the club, because they all want to kick on and aspire to get the club to be as best it can be, but for them on a personal level to be as best they can be within that. So I think that journey so far in my time being employed by the club will stand me in good stead for kicking on and doing the role of chief executive.
On the pitch, we're heading into a record 6th consecutive season in the top flight. Fair to say that any season in the Premiership's a challenge, but what are the aspirations internally coming into this campaign?
I think 5 years ago, sitting as a fan watching this, I'd be hoping that the narrative was top 6 European football, push on and try and challenge with these teams, Hearts and Hibs and Aberdeen. And we'd love to do that. Of course we would. That would be brilliant. We've seen last season, we beat Hearts, we beat Hibs, we beat Aberdeen, we beat these teams who'll all be playing European football next year. We beat them here. Realistically though, and this is where we all need to, as supporters, as staff, as you guys in the media side, we all need to be realistic as to where we are as a football club. And it might not be exciting to say it, but I think the realism is survival in the top flight will always be the goal for the club just now. We don't have the luxury of a chief executive with deep pockets. We don't have 5, 6, 7,000 season ticket holders that are helping inflate that budget to allow David to go and spend and bring in big names on high wages. It's just not there. But what we have got is an incredibly hard-working group of people on the coaching staff who will get the very, very best out of the players in that changing room. But for me, that's going to be first and foremost is making sure that we have Premiership football for a record-breaking 7th season, a record-breaking 8th season. Of course, we readjust that as the season goes on. And last season, we flirted with the top 6. We were in and out. We were there for a sustained period of time, and again, just missed out on that match day 33 at Tannadice. So that was again disappointing for a second year in a row to miss out with that final game. But we've got to maintain that realism that we aren't able to compete with Hearts and Hibs on a financial level. But on the park, the coaching staff will do everything they can to squeeze every bit of energy and every bit of appetite out of the players to go and try and give it as good as we've got. And if that takes us to a chance of getting in the top 6, fantastic, brilliant. That would be a dream come true if we can get European football. God, we all sit here and look back at the memories of when we did do it, back in 2002, 2003, when we had those experiences of European football here, and we'd love to bring that back to Livingston. We'd all love that. But we've just got to make sure that we don't get too carried away, that first and foremost, you're realistically looking at the top 4 or 5 teams in the country will likely be the top 4 or 5 teams at the end of the season next year. So there's 7 teams really fighting for one place in the top 6, and the other 6 are really fighting to avoid the bottom 2 places. So again, yeah, it's not the exciting answer as much as we'd all love to say that top 6 is the dream. Realistic for me, staying in the division, but we caveat that with, we've seen today's Viaplay Cup draw. We've got a favourable group, so a chance to try and progress into the knockout stages. Last year we probably didn't get through to the rounds we'd like to have. We've been really successful in the last 5, 6 years in the League Cup of getting into the kind of final 8, and we've had trips like Ibrox, and we've had Rangers here, and that's been a kind of staple of the last 5, 6 years. Last year we didn't quite get there, getting knocked out a round earlier than we'd have liked. That has a financial impact on the club. It also has a disappointment for the fans that they don't get that chance to look at getting into the quarterfinals, the semi-finals. We all missed out on that semi-final and cup final during the COVID season when we got to Hampden and no one was there to be able to see it. So again, a cup run would be fantastic. Scottish Cup again, probably a real tinge of disappointment for last year. We're given a draw against a team in the league below us at home with a favourable draw or a favourable run to the final, and had we got through that game, we didn't. We took our medicine and got on with that. But again, when you're looking at this season, trying to get a Scottish Cup run and a League Cup run and progress into those latter stages, brilliant for the supporters, but also brilliant on that financial aspect for the club, bringing in that prize money, that additional TV money, and then trying to bring that excitement of cup final football back to Livingston.
Around about the midpoint of the summer break now, supporters obviously beginning to look forward to the new season. Season ticket sales, I think it's fair to say, have been quite strong. Just touching upon that, from your kind of reflection within the club, what's your kind of thoughts on how that's been? It's been brilliant, really, really good. I think we didn't have the greatest end to the season, which there was a worry amongst probably us at a commercial level, as well as a media team, when you're putting time and effort and hours into coming up with video packages and your marketing ideas and your campaigns to try and help sell season tickets, and when things aren't going well in the park, that has an immediate effect on how fans are thinking and where they are in their own headspace. And there was probably a little bit of worry that fans would be not put off, but that form can sometimes eat into, it's not been a great finish, well, will they renew? We've had a brilliant response from fans from the minute they went on sale. We just finished our early bird period at the end of May. We're looking at the figures on last year. As of that end of the early bird period from last year to this season, we're up 17.5% on season ticket numbers. So for a club our size to be adding that sort of number or that sort of figure onto the total sales is fantastic. We're not a million miles away from exceeding last year's total sales number. So in terms of new supporters coming to the ground, we're about 7% of sales so far this season are brand new season ticket holders. So I like to think that kind of community work that we're trying to do with the giving away tickets and the school tickets, community tickets, tapping into local groups and organisations is now not paying huge dividends, but certainly having a knock-on or a positive impact on those sales, that people are coming along, taking advantage of those community tickets and thinking, we want to come back, we've enjoyed it. We had that terribly
unfortunate run that we hadn't won a game on giving away the community tickets, but the last game that we gave them away, we finally kind of got that monkey off our back and won the game, and it was great. It's always great. The players comment on it, the staff comment on it, to see people filling out those other stands that they usually sit empty. So I'd like to think that work that goes on in making that possible has had that impact on those season ticket numbers this year. So there's still people there who haven't quite renewed, and we hope to see them back next season and really trying to help, because it will be a difficult campaign. It's probably going to be the most difficult that we've had since we came into the top flight. We're no hiding from the fact that the figures were published, and it wasn't great reading in terms of the finances for the last set of accounts that we released. But we're trying to do what we can at this end to make sure that the budget's cut, to make sure we cut our cloth accordingly. We're trying to make sure we're doing things around the stadium to deal with that and make sure that we can make things more sustainable. But fans coming out and buying those season tickets and getting in the stand and supporting the team on a Saturday and helping them when they really need to be our 12th man. And it's very much the case that our 1,200, 1,300 season ticket holders are hugely important. It might be a small number in comparison to other clubs in the division, but our season ticket numbers are crucial because they are on that low level compared to other teams. But that makes it even more important that these people come out and support us. And we've had a fantastic backing for years for that hardcore element of Livingston fans who continue to come along and cheer on Davy and the players, and fingers crossed, and all those who haven't yet renewed will get down and be able to do that in the coming weeks ahead of the league campaign kicking off later in the year. But it's been great to see that freshness of new supporters looking to come along and join them on that journey as well.
Just focusing on that new engagement, fair to say that we've made great strides probably in recent years since probably returning to top flight in terms of reconnecting and rebuilding those relationships with the community, not just in Livingston but the wider West Lothian kind of area. What's your next steps, or what's your kind of views on next steps in terms of continuing that positive growth?
I think the word used there is probably is crucial for me. Continuation in what we're doing, because it's working. We're seeing people the last 2 years. Last season we added round about 220, 230 new season ticket holders from the season previous to last year. And I think again that was a direct, the under 16 season ticket at the price point that we've released that at is affordable. It allows kids at that school age to come along with their mates from school and enjoy it. It's a relaxed environment. It's not a full stadium where it's maybe a bit daunting when you look around other grounds. So it's nice for them to come along. But I think continuing that, the community tickets have been a great success. We've been able to access conversations with schools and colleges and charities, organisation, local groups. It's been tremendous actually to see the requests from groups that we would probably never contact ourselves because it just wouldn't come on the radar, but those groups get in touch with us looking to provide their members with tickets to come along because they want to back the football club and realise that they can have an important part to play. So I think first and foremost that continuation of giving those community tickets out and making sure that we are connecting with the local schools and the kids in the area. We know fine well where we are geographically that there's a big pool to go to Edinburgh, there's a big pool to go to Glasgow to support the teams in there. So trying to make it affordable for fans or for people to come along and try it and see if they enjoy it. And of course, once they've had that free ticket, it can be expensive to then come along to the football. So by trying to do these community giveaways 3, 4, 5 times a season and trying to let people come along, sample it, and then we hope that under 16 season ticket, the price it's at, is affordable enough to then tempt parents to allow their kids to come along, allow kids to save up their own pocket money and purchase that to come and join us. So first and foremost, a continuation of what we're doing on a community ticket giveaway front. I think there's a lot of good work being done along with the West Lothian Community Foundation and Football Buzz. We work quite closely with both. We give them access to tickets game on game. We've seen Football Buzz come on at half-time and bring groups along to enjoy a half-time experience where they get kids on the park to play. They've played in front of 9,000, 10,000 people. We've had Celtic and Rangers here, Sky Sports cameras. So it's been brilliant working alongside both organisations for that. So again, that helps us build those relationships, get kids through the door without maybe having to do a lot of the legwork ourselves. Using the guys at Football Buzz and the foundation who are brilliant at what they do. They already have those contacts. They already have kids going along to their sessions and their programmes. So just using that relationship that we have and the communication we have with those guys, I think a huge credit's got to go to our women's section. We've seen recently that they were crowned league champions, and some touching scenes at the end when one of the players going over and giving her medal to a young fan that was there watching, a young girl that was there, her dad watching the game. She's now away with a league winning medal. those little things can have a huge impact on the football club in general. You know, that's not, she'll not just necessarily associate that with Livingston Women FC or Livingston Women's section, she'll associate that with Livingston and coming back along. And you know, the women's team are very active and coming along and watching the men's team on a Saturday. We've seen a number of the men's players along watching the women's team lift the trophy on trophy day. So having that link that it's one club, I think can help us tap into, you know, the girls in West Lothian and Livingston that have perhaps, you know, not had that connection with the football club prior to having the women's section here. All of a sudden they've now got role models that they can see themselves trying to emulate and play football for Livingston. You know, 3-4 years ago, a young girl on the stand wouldn't have had that dream or that option of thinking about playing for Livingston, and now that's there. Now we've covered ourselves, me on the other side of the camera with you guys doing pieces with, you know, Rachel Walkinshaw, who herself was or is a Livingston fan, and she had that journey from sitting in the stand as a fan but knowing that there was no real chance of her, or thinking there was no real chance of her being able to walk out and play for Livingston, and you know, here she is a number of years later as an adult playing for the women's team. And that I think is something that is a new element that we've been able to add to the football club in general, to tap into a supporter base that we maybe couldn't access before. So I think, you know, you guys in particular and the media team, along with you know, the girls at the women's section, both you know, the first team and the reserves, they've went out their way to make sure that those young supporters are excited and engaged. So again, another element of how we can continue to increase that community contact is through, you know, the women's section as well.
Lastly, looking to the long term, could you sum up what your aspirations are in terms of what you hope your impact will be from your tenure as CEO of the club?
Hopefully a successful one. Hopefully, I say leave the club in a better place than I came in. I don't have any plans to leave the football club. I hope that when my time comes to move on or step down from the role, I'll still be here in some capacity doing something else. You know, I've been here for a number of years in a number of roles. You know, first and foremost came along as a fan, as a kid, and I've now, you know, been fortunate enough to serve a number of positions at the club, from, you know, club shop to programme seller to working in the bars to being able to do the social media. I know that there's a whole host of things that I've had an experience of doing at the football club, and now other than ousting Davy and picking the team myself, it's probably the only other realistic role that I had any chance of really stepping in. As much as I still think it's incredible, and I'm still pinching myself that that kid in the stand 25, 26 years ago is now, you know, the chief executive of the club he's supported all his life. I might be a more unorthodox choice. I might not be the same business knowledge and business background and financial depth that other chief executives in the league have, but I'll absolutely not be beaten for the passion and love that I'll give the club and the work that I'll put in to try and make this club as best it can be, both not on and off the park. I've got a fantastic relationship with Davy and the coaching staff and the players. You know, having worked in the role that I've done previously as you know, head of media, I dealt with the players day to day. It's a really close-knit group, and a lot of those guys are friends now, you know, through the relationships you build over the course of the year. And I just hope that, you know, with the staff we have here, I know they all believe in me, they all trust me, they've got to know me over the time that I've served at the club already. And if I can, you know, leave the club or take the club into a, you know, a more sustainable position and a more successful position, which would be the dream, you know, you know, I'd love to be sitting here in a year's time talking to you as a top 6 club or a Scottish Cup winning club or a European qualifying club. You know, all those things would be the dream for me, to sit there in the stand, first and foremost as a fan, and then secondly as the chief executive of a club that I've supported all my life, and now watching us walk out of Hampden or qualify for Europe or beat a top 6 team or beat one of the big 2, that would be fantastic. So yeah, just making sure that there's an element of sustainability brought to the club, that we always ensure that we cut our cloth accordingly, and that we're not chasing our dream and putting the club at risk like we've seen at this club before, and the mismanagement of the club in time, that's seen us all go through the heartache that we've experienced as fans. For me, you know, that my passion is the football club, and I'm not here to make money and leave. I'm not here to try and better myself. I'm here to better the football club. It's all I've ever wanted as a fan and as an employee. And if, as I say, if I can leave the club or leave my role with the club in a better position than I've came in, then for me that'll be a success.